Okay, ladies, it's a privilege to be here. And it's so good to hear and to see the wealth of wisdom. Thank you. The wealth of wisdom and dreams and aspiration, aspirations and wisdom and experience that is in the room. So I've been asked to talk about I've been asked to talk about growing your staying power and your stamina for success. And I'm going to talk about it in bullet points, using experience, using our own lived experiences. Even as Fungai was speaking just now, there's so many synergies and so many similarities in our story. When you go into business, it's not always roses. There are highs and there are lows. There are dips and there are troughs. There are mountaintop experiences and there's some valley experiences that leave you asking yourself, what the heck was I thinking about? Why did I even leave the security of a 9 to 5? Why did I leave the security of my check coming in every 30th or every first or second whenever your salary was coming in? Why did I leave the security of knowing that at least my mortgage or my rent will be paid and my car note will be paid, and at least I'm guaranteed of feeding the children? Going into business is a game for courageous people. It calls on all of your courage and it calls on all of your boldness. But let me tell you something, over the years, it creates stamina. Our business experience, I do business with my husband, and our business experience spans 28 years. Our firstborn son is 28 years old. And so I dropped out of school when I was doing A levels because I got pregnant with him. And so we had to feed him. My husband was in second year law school at the University of Zimbabwe. And we're now saddled with this baby who needs feeding. And that's where our business journey started. My first business, for those of you who've lived, who come from Zimbabwe or who understand how we trade in Africa. My first business was going at 19, was going and ordering things from the wholesale, Kwabadela, ordering things from the wholesalers, ordering toffees and tomatoes and maputi and crisps, and getting someone. My first employee was a young girl that I got who'd come looking for work, and she would stand by the corner because you've got to locate your spot. You can't just go into anyone's spot. There are turf wars going on. And she would sell, and at the end of the day, she would come and would count the money, and that's how we would buy my little ones food. So the first 3 years of my son's life, he wore clothes that came in bales from the Western countries. They came from the Red Cross, from the World Health Organization, all these countries in the West, because I'm in Southern Africa at the time, and they're sending bales full of clothes that are supposed to help the poor Africans. But our governments will take them, and the people who receive those, instead of giving them to the poor Africans, they will sell them. So we used to wake up at 4 a.m. and go to a place called Mbare, where they would open and tear the bales open, and then we would select, handpick things. We would see things like this beautiful tweed jacket, and we would go and dry clean those, because you don't put that in the washing machine or hand wash it. And then we'll take select pieces and we would wash them and we would sell them on. That's how we fed our son for the first 3 years of his life, until things began to transform. My husband finished law school. He started working for one of the multi-millionaires of that time in Zimbabwe, and that's how we grew. So we've been in all forms of business for so many years. We came to the United Kingdom in 1998, and in the year 2000 is when we launched our first company, providing and supplying staff in the social care industry. They used to be called residential social workers. We call them support workers now. We used to supply nursery nurses and a myriad of staff. So we've done different forms of business throughout our lives. And so I want to say, if you want to learn how to grow your staying power and stamina for success in this business space, whatever it is that you're going into right now, there are a few things that you need to do. You need to define your goals. Clearly identify your long-term and short-term goals and have a clear vision of what it is that you want to achieve. Anything that is not defined, let me tell you, if you do not define, you will go in 100 different ways. And in this space, in the spaces that we're all in, for instance, in tech, I'm sure there's so many different routes in tech that you can take. It's not just one term, one broad brush. So we've got to understand the space we're going into, and then you've got to filter it down and decide, this is what I am going into. One of the businesses we have, we've got children's homes. So we're, that's Ofsted. We're Ofsted registered. We're CQC registered. We supply 16 plus. We've just gone into complex care. So you've got to, but this is us now diversifying over the years. But initially we started in supplying stuff to the local authorities. And then from there we began to add bolt-ons. So you've got to define your goals and be specific. You need to develop a growth mindset. No matter how bad, how tough, how hard, how difficult, go home, cry if you need to cry, because business will make you cry. You'll come off some call with some stakeholder and they will speak to you like you're the gum under my shoe, and you'll be thinking, do they even know who I am? They don't care who you are. But you've got to keep the main thing the main thing. If you want business and you want that business, sometimes we've got to eat humble pie. That's not the time to show them and say, do they know who I am? Nobody talks to me like that. Let me tell you something. The business space will humble you. Just like it is, like they say in the world, there's always going to be someone more pretty than you, more intelligent than you. It's the same thing in business. There's always going to be someone doing more things, bigger things, greater things. They've got greater traction. They've gone the distance. And so we need humility if we're going to grow and if we're going to step into certain spaces. Build physical endurance. You've got to understand that your physical strength and your physical health has been mentioned by Neo. It's been mentioned by Fungi. Let me tell you something. These bodies are our vehicles for destiny and purpose. If you do not look after your health and your well-being, right now, you will amass all of these things, and guess what? Someone else will stay and eat them. And that is the lot of a wicked man if you read the scriptures, because a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, but it says a wicked man amasses, and then someone else steps into it and they partake of it. You and I are not wicked people. You and I are righteous women. You understand? So we've got to look after our destiny vehicles, because this is what will enable us to have the longevity. Because right now we are contending in our household, my husband and I and our children, we're contending to live up to 120. So for some of you youngsters in this place, there's going to be a 120-year-old little person, because I'll be littler than I am right now. But listen, I'll still be going. We're contending for long life. Man, and so with that, you need to also learn how to manage your energy levels. So as you're going into business and as you do business, and when you become an entrepreneur, some of the luxuries, we were having this conversation just the other day with my husband, some of the luxuries of when you go into becoming a business. Remember, you've left the rat race and you've left the 9 to 5 where your manager is saying, excuse me, Lorraine, you cannot be on your computer right now. You cannot be on the internet right now or on your phone. You are now the manager, the sole proprietor of your time. So you've got to learn to understand and harness your energy levels. We're all built different here. For a long time, I've managed to change that through health and fitness and looking after my well-being. But for the longest time, I would kickstart mentally. I would kickstart from 3 p.m. And my most productive hours were from 3 p.m. right up until about 2 a.m. That was my window. From the morning, it just wasn't working. Because at the time, I was dealing with brain fog and a lot of health issues that I've now taken care of. I was terribly anemic. So many things were going. I took care of that, you know. And so I've managed to change my system. So you've got to manage your energy levels. And with that comes developing mental resilience. Learn from your failures, ladies. Learn from your failures. That's another point. Failure is not final. Failure does not define you to the dung heap of those who tried. You and I are not wantrepreneurs. We are entrepreneurs. You understand? And so when you try something and it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. Try another way. You understand? Don't give up. If you knock on that door and you knock on that door and you knock on that door and it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. Try again. You and I have got to cultivate that discipline of resilience, where no is not an option and it's not an answer, and you keep on knocking on those doors, and believe me, before you know it, you will have the victory that you're looking for. So analyze and learn from your failures and analyze what went wrong. Identify the lessons that you've learned. I always say this. Some of our failures and some of our greatest setbacks and downfalls and heartbreaks and experiences in life, I say put it down and call it the school fees in the university of life. So you're talking about losing everything and getting rid of that Bentley. I like nice cars as well, getting rid of those nice things, because we've been there as well, where you lose everything. So we started business, like I said, when we came into the United Kingdom, 98, started business in the year 2000, and then 2012, we lost everything. We lost everything with our 4 kids. We've been homeless 8 times. We've been at the pleasure of Her Majesty, the Queen, living in emergency housing. We've done that. We've lost everything. But let me tell you something. When you have got the ability to learn from your mistakes and learn from your failures, you're able to bounce back. I am not the person, and neither are you the person who's going to be jumping from this building because you think you're a failure and you allow depression to steal your destiny. Recuperate, but you know what? You bounce back. You ask yourself, you analyze what went wrong. What can I do better? What do I need? How do I re-strategize? But you need to get back in the ring, and you need to get back. You and I are like a fighter. When you watch boxing, you know what? There are times that you think, oh my gosh, this guy, he's down. He's fallen a few times. But as they're counting out, he gets back up and he goes back at his opponent and he goes back in. And that guy is the guy who wins the fight, the least likely. Some of us are the least likely because of our gender, because of our color, because of our upbringing, because of our background, because of how the story started as a high school dropout. Some of us are the least likely to succeed. But let me tell you something. If we have resilience and bounce back ability, and we're able to get back into the game, and we don't allow shame, the privilege of stepping into my 40s. Yay! I'm 47. I'll be 48 this November. I have lost all shame. Yes. So to any of my sisters who are in your 20s and your 30s, and maybe things have failed, whether it's marriage, business, finances, whatever, and you're dealing with shame, let me tell you, girl, hang in there. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. I have lost all ability to feel shame. There's some in here who know our story. So you walk into a room where you know people are talking about you. Let me tell you something that will make you lose all ability to feel shame. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I don't care. I'm honing in for a finish, baby girl. I'm respecting your time. So I'm going to leave you with 5 key things. This is from one of my books. It's actually in production, so you'll see it this summer. The 5 I's. So as you go into business and as you persist in business, there are 5 things that I want you to have in your day-to-day business experience. You need to be indefatigable, girls. You need to be indefatigable. You need to understand that you're irreplaceable. You need to have an indomitable spirit. You need to be irrepressible, not irrepressible. And you need to have an indestructible spirit. What is an indomitable spirit? It is a person who is impossible to subdue. That is what an indomitable spirit is. So they tell you your type, your kind, your gender, but you know what? You have an indomitable spirit. And you know what? You rise up anyway. You've got to have a spirit that does not allow circumstances to pigeonhole you and shelve you. You need to refuse to be subjugated by the storms of life. So I don't know what you're going through. But let me tell you something. This too shall pass. We don't call them seasons for nothing. Seasons come and seasons go. We've just come out of spring. It's been a long winter. I don't even know if we're in spring or summer or what, but seasons come. A season in some countries, it's supposed to be 3 months. 12-week period. That's a season. So if you're in a season that's gone on for 3 years, let me tell you something. You need to speak and serve that thing notice. You need to go back home after this meeting and everything you learn and go into your room and say enough is enough. We're not having it this way. This situation has got to change. You and I have got an indomitable spirit. You need to understand that you're irrepressible, unable to be controlled or restrained or confined to life by life's storms and tragedies. So you're irrepressible. No one can hold you down. No one can hold you down. That's why I said I've lost all form of shame. I don't care what people say because I have learned I am irrepressible. I'm irrepressible. So right now, I don't know what you're going through in your business journey. And it looks like, you're dead. They don't understand you're a seed. You're still alive. You're just germinating in the soil of your circumstances. But you and I are irrepressible and you're coming up. You're indefatigable. One who persists tirelessly and tenaciously and relentlessly and will not take no for an answer. So keep on knocking, keep on formulating, keep on building that business, keep on recruiting, keep on looking for different ways, keep on networking. I love what you're doing here. Because we hear of networking, and then there's this kind of networking. Most people are so precious about their spaces. And then you get from guys saying, no, come in, ladies, share your. I've been to places where they say you're networking, but you can't even share your details because they're thinking, no, she's my contact. And so if you're in touch with my contact. So spaces like this are precious, ladies. And I pray for more and more like this. More and more and more like this. Because every success, some people may not come back to say thank you. But let me tell you something. It is contributed and attributed to your heavenly account. There's one who knows and keeps tab better than you and I can ever keep tab. So keep on, keep on. I'm nearly done. 2 more points. You're indestructible, ladies. You cannot be destroyed or extinguished or hidden or snuffed out. An indestructible confidence is what you need for you to fulfill your purpose. And you're irreplaceable. You cannot be replaced. You cannot be replaced. You're irreplaceable. You're one of a kind. You're sui generis. You're in a league of your own. You're one ariega. There's no one else like you. Come on now. You're irreplaceable. I don't care who told you that, I can find another one like you. Listen, girl, you are irreplaceable. You're irreplaceable. You're irreplaceable. Someone can try and create a Python, but a Python is not an iPhone. This is irreplaceable. You understand? You and I are one of a kind. You're in a league of your own. You're irreplaceable. You're authentic. You are bona fide. You're authentic. You're one of a kind. So these are my words of encouragement as you're scaling up, as you're trying to build your space in the business, in the business world and in the marketplace. The marketplace needs you and I. And finally, ladies, work on your market value. The marketplace has got no emotion. So the marketplace doesn't care about Pastor Sarah or Bishop or whatever your title. It doesn't care about titles. The marketplace cares about what you're able to bring to the table, the value you're able to bring to the table, the change you're able to bring to an environment. How much are you worth? What is your market value? How much are you worth by the hour, by the day, by the moment? How much are you worth? And what value do you bring? When you walk into a room, How much value are you bringing into that room? And how much change and impact are you going to make in the lives of those around you? God bless you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you.